Hello, I'm Jason Lightoller from Woodside. In front of you here is a piece of ribbing. There's nothing particularly fancy about it, it's just a standard square of 1x1 ribbing. However, if you look at the lower edge here, you will see that it's totally flat, there is no rippling, no puckering, and there's no spraying out at the edge there, which you sometimes get when you're doing a 1x1 rib, or any rib, come to that, and I'm going to show you today how to achieve it. So I'm demonstrating this using a European machine, specifically a Singer Superba, but it doesn't make any difference because the principle is exactly the same. The technique doesn't alter regardless of what type of machine you're using, whether it's Brother, Toyota, Silver Reed, every step of the way is exactly the same. So what I've done is in waste yarn, I've cast on in a 1x1 setting here, and the tension settings are not particularly important. I just happen to have this on 2, and I've hung the weights and the cast on comb. And what I'm going to do is just knit a few rows. It's not particularly important of how many rows you knit. So what I'm going to do now is just reach over and take some top stitching thread. And top stitching thread is much thicker. I don't know if you can see it. It's much thicker than standard sewing thread. And I'm going to knit a circle. And again, it doesn't particularly matter about your stitch size. I usually just keep it on what I've done the waste yarn in here. And I'm going to change the settings on the carriage to knit a circle. So we're going to change to circular knitting, and I'm going to make sure that this top stitching thread drops down in between the beds there, and I'm not going to put it through the tension mast. I'm going to make sure that it clips in to the carriages and it clips in perfectly because I'm going to feed it through manually. So what I'm going to do now is just knit a circle, so that's just 2 rows, 1 backwards and forwards. And I'm going to cut this off. And what I'm going to do is just show you what it's done. As you can see on the first pass, it's gone on the front bed and then it's gone on the back bed there. So we've knitted a circle. And now what I'm going to do is tighten the tension right up. So on the lowest possible dial number that it will do. And I'm going to swap for the main yarn, and again make sure that it goes through both beds. And I've clipped the waste yarn and the top stitching thread all together with a clothes peg, and I'm going to do the same with the main yarn. Just as before, just make sure that it's in the carriages properly. Now, maintaining the tightest stitch, we're going to switch back to a single stocking stitch. So what it will do a zigzag row on both beds, like that. And now we're going to do 2 circular passes. So we're going to change to 2 circular rows. As you can see, it's done a circle, and back to stocking stitch. And we increase now the tension, so we go up to a normal ribbing tension, and we just do the required amount of ribs. So I'm just going to do, say, 20 rows, and then I'll take it off the machine and show you what it looks like. So I've actually done 35 rows there. I'm just going to clip off the yarn, and I'll remove the weights. And now I'll just do 1 pass of the carriage. So I've taken it off the cast on comb. This of course is the waste yarn that we knitted. This is the 2 circular rows, and this is the main part. Now what you need to do is go to the opposite end of the loose threads of the top stitching part, and you just take your scissors, and I'm going to zoom in and show you. Take a small pair of scissors and just clip. Be very careful not to cut the knitting, of course. Just clip the loose threads of the top stitching thread, put it apart gently, and then what you do is you take one of the loose ends of the top stitching thread there and just pull, and then you pull the other loose thread, and then the two will separate out, and there is your perfect cast on edge.